Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by, and this will be the last video before we get into the festivities, and I've got people round and stuff, so there'll be a break and I'll get back onto it like next Wednesday or Thursday, something like that. This video is in 3 parts, effectively. The first part is also the third part and it's things to look forward to. As a year comes to a close, we all put our thoughts towards next year. You know, we have our wish list that we'd like to do. I don't mean just orchids, you know, places we want to visit, people we want to see, all those sort of things. And we look forward to the new year and our hopes and all that. So that's the first part, is and the third part, things to look forward to. And as far as I'm concerned, in my orchid video world, that's buds and spikes. Yeah, of course it is. Right, we have a tiny little phalaenopsis down there, a little mini phal that's going to bloom for the first time in quite a while. That was virtually a lost plant. Well, it's pushed up a new leaf, it looks like it's doing another one, and it has a mini spike, we'll call it, to go with a mini phalaenopsis. And it is a mini at the end of the day. Those blooms won't be large, but it'll be interesting to see what they look like, because I've completely forgotten. So we've got that possibly to look forward to. We've got the big almost white phalaenopsis with the pink tinge. That's going to have, I don't think there'll be any more. I think that'll be just 2 blooms. That's just a branch, but it does have another spike forming. That won't be as good as the one back in the summer, because it's growing in the dark. It's growing indoors where it's nice and warm, but it hasn't got the light. So it won't be a good spike, but it'll be a spike with some blooms on. What else have we got that's lurking? The Phalaenopsis Sweet Memory is branching in 2 places. Now that's good. For me, I like the blooms near the plant, not 6 foot away from it. So its original big fat spike, the blooms were right on the end. I think there were 4, not all out at once, but 4 in total. These 2 branches may only have 1 or 2 blooms each, but this one's slightly more advanced than that one, but they should be out together and they last a long time. This mounted phalaenopsis up here, look, that's something we can't look forward to, is any changes to bug damage. Once you get bug damage on a leaf, that's it. Until that leaf becomes the oldest leaf and drops off, I've got to live with that, but it's not that bad. But that's got a nice spike coming. That's Phalaenopsis green apples, so can you tell what colour it's going to be? I think that's going to make it. I didn't think that was going to be open over the Christmas period. I think it will. It's just the bud's starting to split, so that's only got 2 or 3 days and that should be open. That's the Psychopsis Mendenhall Hildos. So a few things on the inside. Right, out here is a bit more difficult because I'm not moving all the plants, so there'll be some jungle to look through. But second part of this video was on the previous video's subject about me monetizing my channel. Well, I've read all the comments, not just skipped through them, I've read them, and the analysis of that is the general consensus of opinion is I should just go for it. I'll be going for it in probably different reasons to what a lot of people think. My idea is to get more people watching my channel. The more viewers I get, hopefully the more interesting comments I get. I enjoy going through the comments. Now, okay, sometimes the comment just warrants a thanks or the little heart, you know, things like that. But it acknowledges the comment has been seen and read. And sometimes you get nice, interesting conversations going. And not just with the person who put the original comment up, but others join in. And I love all that. So, you know, the more viewers, potentially, the more comments, the more interesting things that come up in the comments. Quite a few people have told me they actually read the comments. You know, they must have a lot of spare time on their hands. I got a job to keep up with watching all the flipping videos, but the number of videos I watch is geared up to the number of channels I'm subscribed to. And I don't watch all of them. Some of them are in a foreign language that I have no idea what's being said, but I still sometimes watch those because I like looking at the orchids. You know, so it's an orchid video. The words sometimes don't matter so much. But anyway, it is going to go ahead. The downside is that I got conned with some music. Things like my Orchid Society videos and some of the shows, I've added music. Now, most of them have been fine, but on some of them I got not a copyright strike, but I got a copyright warning. Now, those have no effect on my channel or my standing or anything like that. But what it basically was, why I call it a con, was when I was searching through the music, the piece of music I chose was free to use in your video, free of royalty, and perfectly okay. The con was that the site I got the music from had already stolen it from another site. And it's the owner of the music that's put the copyright strike on via YouTube. But it's only a warning shot, and basically it's at the level that they say if the actual owner of that music wishes to, they can put an ad on my video. Yeah, so that will be the only downside. But because I want to start clean, I'm going to go back and delete those videos so that there's no complications. That's all I'm after. Simple life. Simple person, simple life. So yes, it's going to go ahead. Thanks for all the comments. Some people are not happy with it, but not many. The vast majority are happy with the idea on the grounds that everybody's used to watching it, you know. And I'm certainly not doing it to make money, because at the level my channel's at, it's going to be small change, if anything at all. So it's not a big deal as far as, you know, I'm not going to get rich and go and buy a boat and a big house and all that stuff. Not out of YouTube on a YouTube orchid channel. That just ain't going to happen. People who make vast sums of money on YouTube end up getting viral vids, you know, that literally get into the millions of views, you know, for whatever reason. You know, cats playing in the snow, children playing on a swing, whatever it is, you know. But, you know, that's them. This is the orchid YouTube world that I live in, and it's where I tend to stay. So, yeah, and I guarantee that just because I've done that change to my channel, it's not going to affect me or my videos or their content. That just carries on as it always has. I'm not changing anything, you know. I'm not going to be in my videos any more than I can try and avoid. You come here to see my orchids, not look at my ugly mug. So nothing's going to change. The content won't change. I'm not going to get flash or do anything or follow any advice or anything. I'm just carrying on as I always have done. Nothing changes. You'll just have to put up with the little bits on the front, which you can skip out as soon, you know, skip out of, and there definitely will not be any ads in the middle of my vids. I do have that choice. Having looked into it a bit more, you get to choose where the adverts are allowed on your videos, and then people, you know, put them where you've said you would like to see them. Well, I don't really want to see them, but, you know, that's the downside of going this way. Anyway, so it will take place. I'm being approved at the moment. So once it all comes through, allegedly there is a way of doing a bulk update on all my old videos. It's quite amazing that I get, you know, some of my earliest videos right back to sort of the beginning of last year still get watched now and again. But basically there's a bulk switch I can throw which will just basically set that value on all of the videos after I've gone through and got rid of any that have got a copyright warning. That's going to be a bit of a nuisance, because some of the orchid shows and things like that are actually available to view on the Orchid Society's Facebook pages. Well, anybody that's going to watch them has already done it, and I don't want any hassles. So, you know, there's a few of they are old vids. I haven't done that for a long time. So, you know, there are some that will have to go missing. It's probably about half a dozen, you know, out of 600 and something. It's not a big deal. So that's that. it will take place. When, I don't know. It's probably going to be in the new year. I'll have other things on my mind until then. Right, things to look forward to. Buds and spikes. Right, starting up here, not a lot. Obviously, I don't believe there will be any more Vanderblooms, you know, until well into the growing season next year. They're all going to have a bit of a rest now. And just tick over gently, nothing much happening. This Oncidium back here is either the yellow twinkle or it's a miniature Oncidium dancing ladies type, but until it opens I'm not sure. And it could be either, looking at the way the spikes are. There's a lot of spikes. I think there's 5 on that, 6 maybe. So that's coming soon. Whatever it is, it's yellow. That I'm confident of. We've got the Sherry Baby Spike. That's pushing on quite nicely. They're not long-lasting blooms, but what I'm looking forward to with that is the fragrance. That's the only reason I keep that plant. The blooms are not what I would call special or spectacular, but the fragrance is. And I know people that have got quite a lot of these dotted around in their growing areas simply because they're trying to have at least one in bloom all the time, so that fragrance is just always there. Oh, it's buried, I can't get at it. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. We will have our first Masdevallia bloom for a very long time. So we've got that to look forward to. It's not the most spectacular Masdevallia bloom because it's Masdevallia Snowbird, a hybrid, and it's white. I can't even remember if there are any other colours on there. Probably a little yellow centre. But yeah, we've got that to come. This Coleogene cristata, I'm still not sure what this thing's doing. It's incredibly slow. It is a spike. Whether it ever gets to bloom or not, I don't know how long that's going to take, because I've never had them before, so it'll be a first time bloomer. The only I tell a lie, there is another one. The only Dendrobium nobile type that's got buds on and no blooms is this one. This is the Prima Donna, lovely yellow colour. Palish yellow, but a nice yellow, not a wishy-washy one, with little pink tinges on the tips. So there's, and there are going to be a lot of them. I mean, this year's canes have got buds from top to bottom. It was an easy one to get at, this one at the back. The first bud is here. There. And each one of those should have 2 or 3 blooms on. So just that one cane alone would be pretty good. And most of the canes, other this year's canes, have also got some buds starting. So I think it's going to be quite a show. Pretty good. And I've got buds on the previous year's canes as well that have virtually lost their leaves. So I think that is going to be quite a spectacle. Other Dendrobiums, I've got one that's got buds on and it's buried, so it's not that easy to see. It's that pot full of bare canes with some tatty looking leaves on. It's an unknown hybrid along the lines of Unicum, but I reckon there's probably, let me just have a quick count, 6, 8, and another 6, another 4. There's probably about the start of about 20 buds. And I can't remember whether they are single bloom spikes, because it sort of blooms a bit like a nobile. You know, it blooms from the nodes up the canes rather than out the top of the cane. So it's that style of Dendrobium. But it's got a lot of buds, and what I do know is it's a nice orange. And it's a very strange shaped Dendrobium. It's bordering on upside down, but we got that to look forward to. How long we got to wait for that one, I don't know. This tatty lot, a lot of those are rescue ones moving on there. Nope, I think it's any. Oh, the Nellie Isla spike is progressing slowly, and the plant's not dead. Fussy tyke, that one, but it seems to have taken to its repot, and its latest growth has a spike. So yeah, getting Nellie Islas to grow and rebloom is not the easiest thing in the world, especially like for me in the summer when it gets pretty warm in here. Quite honestly, that Nellie Isla would have died along with my Miltoniopsis if I wasn't able to keep my humidity as high as I do. Now this is strange because up here we have a sea of green and there's not one bud or spike in amongst that lot apart from the Cymbidium, and the spikes on the Cymbidium are pushing on quite nicely. Well, this one's heading up into the jungle, so it's got a nice spike up the back there, buds are starting to swell, and another spike over here, and they're sturdy spikes. I'm not going to attempt to stake them. I don't believe they will go pendulous. They're going to stay upright. With a thickness and a sturdiness like that, it's going to be an upright type. I can't get at this one to film now. I'll see if I can tag it on the end because I've actually got to water my mounts in a minute. But my Brassivola nodosa's got spikes on, one of which is pushing on quite quickly now. Right, coming round here, in amongst these up here, it is highly likely that my Victoria Reginae is going to bloom. These look like buds to me, and that cane with the yellow leaf near the top, that looks like buds to me. It's a wait and see though, because that has produced a kiki before now, that plant, so wait and see. But yeah, if that blooms, you'll hear the yahoo. It hasn't bloomed before, so that could be one of the magic first timers. There's something special about first time blooms. There just is. Sometimes they're quite disappointing, but I don't think that one will be. My epidendrum of the radicand type, the buds are pushing on nicely. That's going to be a nice show. Not huge flowers, but are quite an intense orange with a nice yellow centre, so that should look nice. I'm not going to be able to get at all my Cattleyas. I might be able to just do some shadows. That sheath's got buds, quite distinct buds showing now. The plant also has another sheath doing exactly the same thing that's right round the back that I can't get at. Right up against the glass there, that sheath there, right at the base, you may be able to see it, but there's buds showing there. That was a plant I split, just a Cattleya hybrid, and both of the splits, the latest growths on both of them, both have a sheath, and they've both got the shadows in the base. So there's some Cattleya types to come. We've got Laelia anceps to look forward to. Those buds are definitely forming up in those spikes, and there's 2 spikes. So a couple of blooms on each of those would be nice. Lovely blooms on that. Down here we've got, I'm not sure whether that bud's going to make it. All the other buds on that spike have blasted. My only hope is that because we're having a mild spell at the moment, so it's not chilling down quite so much at night and nowhere near for as long, that bud may open. That one won't. But we do have another spike up the back that's starting to show colour. That's another Dendrobium phalaenopsis type. There's another spike down here, and that's on the same plant of the spike that's virtually blasted. So it's got a backup spike coming up. So who knows, even if that one blasts, this one might take so long to actually develop that it gets into the slightly better temperatures. They don't like the cold, they really don't. So we're only doing buds and spikes at the moment. I haven't got any bulbophyllums with buds or spikes. No Tolumnias, apart from the one that's out, but there's no new spikes showing yet. But I'm expecting better things from my Tolumnias next year. They had a hell of a setback in the year. They're recovering from that. I believe my zygote has got spikes. But being relatively new to zygos and having in the past never kept one long enough to even find out, because I've killed quite a few of these beauties, but this, the latest growths on here, this latest growth here has that coming out of the side. Yeah, could be a spike. This big fat latest growth down here that I am well pleased with also has something coming out the side. That may be a spike. And then there's this thing that's been sat there looking like that for a long time that I don't actually think is going to do anything, but it's firm. It just isn't moving. Yeah, so we may have some zygopetalum spikes to look forward to. Oh, I certainly hope so. No point in having you if you don't bloom. Still, I'm just pleased it hasn't died like most of the others did. We have one Orangus with spikes on, this little fastuosa. And 2 spikes are tucked in under the plant. They're both moving, but Orangus spikes move slowly. They're of the twinkle ilk. Don't hold your breath. But coming, they're moving. Very slowly, but it's coming on. Now, I've lost several of these in the past. And I think they are one of the plants, I've got several, that just do not like getting water on them in any shape or form. Because most of the ones I had before, the leaves rotted near the base. Now, there are various reasons that can happen, but one of them is water hanging around, you know, the crown and the base, the leaf joints, with lower temperatures. But this is a nice little plant. They don't grow big, you know. So we've got that to look forward to. Yeah, I've got a feeling in the buds and spikes scenario, that's about it. So there are some things coming on, some things to look forward to, you know, at some point in the new year. Some of them are quite a long way down the line, but it's always nice to have things to come. And I think, you know, as the days slowly start to get longer and the night temperatures perhaps aren't quite so cool, you know, and there's a little bit more heat in the daytime, there's a lot of things in here that are due to bloom. They're just not doing it yet, if you see what I mean, because they slow down so much in my winter, you know, accommodation. So yeah, a fair bit to come. This sea of green should produce spikes. A lot of those are Latorias. They're pushing on nicely, they're growing well. There's no reason why those shouldn't bloom. And then of course we have the heap of resting dendrobiums. Well, they're on the you'd better bloom list rather than the looking forward to them blooming list. My Dendrobium Nesta, I see no reason why that won't bloom, and that's got 3 spikes this year instead of just the 1. My Anosmum, this year's cane is here. It's a good size cane. It's equal to the older canes that were on the plant when I got it, and there were a lot. And there's no reason why some of those older canes might bloom, because the latest ones that were leafless when I got it, they don't seem to have signs of old spikes down the nodes. There's the odd 1 or 2, so they obviously have bloomed in places, but they're still capable of blooming on any node that hasn't yet bloomed, you know, filling in the gaps type thing. So we'll see how that does. But yeah, there's a lot of resting dendrobiums that are on the list of, you know, things to come, or things that better come, let's put it that way. They've all had the best rest I can give them this year. If it doesn't work and I've still got some non-bloomers on mature plants, then, you know, maybe they're just not going to bloom. Some of them I'll still keep because I love the plant, but there may be some rationalisation. Yeah, so yeah, that'll do. Harveyanum, new growth pushing on nicely up the top. In behind it is Hercoglossum, new canes right up here, and older canes. That's going to bloom. That'll be a special show. But Harveyanum itself has got some signs of new spikes. Could turn into kikis. It has done that before. Strange sometimes when you see that on this plant. For me, it looks to all intents and purposes like a kiki because it's got roots. Well, sometimes it puts up a flower spike that grows roots. What the hell that's supposed to be? It's like it can't make its mind up, and it sort of thinks it's doing a flower spike, and then it sort of thinks, well, actually we'll have some roots as well. That does do some strange things. There's a nice big fat one there. That could be a spike. If it is a spike, it'll be a good spike, you know, with 6 or 7 blooms on because of the sheer size. Had the plant long enough to know the difference. Some of the spikes come out quite slim, and you sort of think, yeah, you're only going to have 3 or 4 blooms, but some of them, you know, are pretty good. So that will bloom in the not too distant future. That gets me a nice splash of yellow around. Frilly yellow, we love that one. Yeah, so that'll do for today. And as I said, the old ads will start kicking in at some point. Only on the beginning, and if YouTube chooses to put some on the end, it can please itself. Nobody will ever see them. But I definitely won't be putting any in the middle. I can stop that happening. I do have that level of control. It annoys the hell out of me. So why would I do that to my viewers? What a silly thing to do, you know. And many people in their comments said, yeah, we don't mind the bits on the beginning. We don't even mind the long ones as long as we can skip out of them. But what we don't want is the ones in the middle. Well, you're not going to get them. So I listened, I've read, and I've taken it on board. And the few people that are not too happy about it, I hope will just get used to it. But the consensus is that, you know, it's something I ought to have done a long time ago, many people said. So anyway, we'll leave it at that for today, and I wish you all a happy festive period, happy holidays, happy Christmas, whatever you're up to. One of my sister's friends is he comes from Gambia in sunny Africa, and my sister and brother-in-law are off out there for a holiday. They sort of semi-adopted him when he first got to England, and everything was all strange and he didn't know his way around, and he worked at the same place my sister worked at, and he now calls my sister and brother-in-law mum and dad. He's paying for them to go and see his country and have a little holiday out in Gambia. So so they've got arms full of holes at the moment, where they've had to have every jab under the sun to ward off the evils of Africa. I'm sure they'll have a whale of a time. You know, monkeys in the trees and all that. If they knew anything about orchids, they may even see some of those, but they don't. Yeah, so, but that guy's a devout Muslim. And do you know what he's doing on Christmas Day? He's going down to a place that opens up for the homeless people, and he's serving up Christmas dinner and stuff like that for the homeless, because Christmas means nothing to him. It's not part of his world. He has other things that are important to him, but because he's not going to do anything particular on Christmas, rather than do nothing, he's going to go and help others, and gets a pat on the back for that. If I had nothing to do, that might be something that would interest me, but as far as Christmas is concerned, nothing to do would be a luxury with the amount I've actually had to do, and I still haven't finished, but I'm nearly there now. We did our early morning shot this morning. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite early enough because lots of other people had the same idea, so it was a bit crowded. But anyway, that bit's done, so we're up and running. Have a good holiday, have a good break, see your family and friends. Relax, and if you're doing the cooking, try and relax anyway. I mean, I'm doing all the cooking here, but it's all planned, you know, it's all organised. There will be no stress, and there will be no panic, and there will be some red stuff drunk. Hopefully not too much before the dinner's ready, otherwise I know one year we went round to a pub, a local pub, like a family gathering. We're all going to meet up and have an hour at the pub and then go back for our Christmas dinners. Yeah, well, that hour turned into about 3 hours, and all the timers on the food that I'd turned on before we went to the pub had all turned off, and when we got back everything was either overcooked or gone cold. Had to start again, and because we'd had a little bit of the red stuff, that wasn't the best Christmas dinner we ever had, but because we'd all had a drink or two, nobody actually noticed. I sort of got away with it, but no, it's all planned, it's all organised, and it will be a stressful, peaceful, relaxing time for us, and I hope it is for all of you. And I'll see you in the new year, bright and cheery, with a new growing season to look forward to, hopefully some new orchids, and some shows to visit, and so we move into the new year. And for me, there's a lot of anticipation because this is a quiet time with the orchids. There's a lot to come, and quite honestly, the anticipation is almost exciting as the final result. Things to come, things to look forward to. Yeah, and we accept our losses as part of the hobby. I haven't had too many lately, but they still happen. There's one out on the kitchen windowsill waiting to go out under the hedge, but it's been dead nearly a year. I've just been watering it, thinking and hoping that something might grow out of the base, but I've given up on it now. That's too long to wait. It's dead. It's just me not admitting it. So we get our losses, we put them to one side. Hopefully we learn why it happened, and then we can do something about it not happening again. And try and stick to the orchids you do well with, and if you're going to venture into new genera, do your work first and find out whether it's suited to the place you grow. And then you have happy orchids, and happy orchids means happy growers. See you in the new year. Have a nice, quiet, peaceful time. And if you've got your party hats on and your whizoos and all that sort of stuff and a drink in your hand and it's that sort of Christmas, then have a great time too. Just don't keep the neighbours up till 2 o'clock in the morning with your loud music. See you in the new year. Bye for now.